Hi there everyone, and welcome to Continuing Reflections from the manse, another week of reflections. This week we're going to look at the Lord's Prayer, because I was mindful that on the Sunday services we have the opening affirmation, and then we have the lighting of the candle, and we also have the Lord's Prayer. And I've explained, I think, during these services a wee bit about that first affirmation, and of course about the words that we use at the lighting of the candle. So the third thing that we use every single Sunday, we just tend to take for granted, and that is the Lord's Prayer. So I thought we'd use these next 5 reflections to unpack the Lord's Prayer, so that perhaps next Sunday we come to the Sunday slot with that in mind as a backdrop to our time of worship. And the first line of the Lord's Prayer is, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name." So let's unpack that a wee bit. First of all, note the plurality here. It's our Father. It's a community prayer. And that's the thing about the church. The church is the family of God following Jesus Christ. It's very hard to be a Christian on your own, because to follow Jesus means that you're part of his worldwide family. And especially wherever that family is locally, you should be part of that too. So it's our Father. Let me go to the second part of that verse first, because it's less problematic. And it's, hallowed be your name. If we want to translate that simply, it's, may your name be honoured, or may you be honoured, because the name stands for the character of God. So may you be honoured. And it means by all that happens on the earth, by what the church does, by what we do, may we honour God by the way that we live our lives. But the first half of that verse is the one where there's questions, because it's our Father who art in heaven. And the word Father can be problematic for some people. For example, our Muslim friends would find that a little bit familiar for the transcendent God. They have a very high view of God as God being sovereign, the King of the universe, the transcendent God who's like nothing else. And therefore, to use a term from human relationships, like Father of God, is in a sense to bring God down to the human level, and that's not on. Likewise, there are many people who believe there's a God, who are not necessarily religious, so they don't belong to any particular religious faith. They may have sympathies towards the church or the Christian faith because they live in a country dominated by the church. But by and large, they have a view that, yes, there's a God behind all things. They're not atheists. But again, the term Father is to use a term that's very intimate. So what do Christians make of this? Well, first of all, remember this. It's our Father who art in heaven. This God is not an idol on the earth, because the Jewish tradition was very much against making God in our image. So this is the God in heaven. This is the God who is transcendent, yet a God who wants a relationship with us, a God who's intimate, not only with his creation, but especially with humanity. And therefore the word Father is appropriate here. Remember also, it's Jesus who taught his disciples this prayer. They came to him asking, "Lord, teach us how to pray." And this is the model prayer. God is addressed as our Father. So let me give some reflections on my own fatherhood. I have 3 children, and I'll never forget we had our first child, David. And of course, as a little baby, as a father, it's difficult to have the same type of relationship that the mother has with the child, just because of the nature of things. And I was changing David's nappy one day, and it was very hard for me to see this as a little person, because all it did was cry, get fed, and then its nappy had to be changed. But I was changing the nappy, and I happened to move to get something, and I suddenly noticed his eyes track my movement. And it was like, wow, there's a wee person in there. And it was like suddenly David had become conscious of a world outside of himself and conscious of me moving. Secondly, there was a time with Laura when she was in her teens. She was a wee bit down in the dumps one week, and I went and bought her a CD of the latest rock chick. I think it was Avril Lavigne that she was into. And I left it on her bedside cabinet as a wee surprise. And of course she'd gone into the bedroom, saw it, and knew immediately that it was me who gave her that present, and it cheered her up. And that was a special moment for me as a father. And then thirdly with Peter, again, as a young man growing into things and wondering what direction to go on, he was exploring very different avenues and emailing me, and we had a conversation about various things that he was thinking about doing, different careers, different paths. But then he'd change his mind and look at something else. But I remember getting an email from him that cheered me no end. He said, you know, Dad, I've explored different things, and every time I tell you about it, you affirm me and you encourage me. You never make me feel silly. You don't laugh, you don't judge. Whatever I want to do, you're there to support me in. And there's 3 illustrations from me, and I want to use that for us to unpack our relationship with God this week. I want you to think of the time you first, if you can remember, the first time you became conscious of God, that there was a God out there. Was it as a child? Was it in Sunday school? I remember one person saying that they had really no time for religion or God until they'd been at a funeral service, and for some reason they just felt there was an awareness that there is a God. So everybody's different. So think about that. When was the first time you became conscious of God? Secondly, have you ever been surprised by God? Because the Bible God is a God of surprises. And if we look back on our lives, there are times that the way we're travelling and what we're getting involved in, sometimes we can be surprised by what happens. And thirdly, have we felt encouraged? Is there a time where we've been taking a particular path and we've just felt the doors have opened and we've been blessed? So this week, think about these 3 things. Your consciousness of God, when that's happened, moments or experiences or memories. Times when you've been surprised and felt that you've been given a gift and doors have opened for you. And thirdly, when you've been blessed. Let's all reflect on that, our relationship with God over the years, and then what we can do to build on that. Our Father loves us, and He's with us. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see you tomorrow, and God be with you.